Please, my daughter, can you help me? I fetched this water from the stream, but I'm too weak to carry it home. My house is just down this path, not far. Please, can you help an old woman? Of course, Mama. Let me help you. Lead the way, Mama. I will follow you.
The sun was beginning its descent toward the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, when Amara wiped the sweat from her forehead and looked at her small harvest. 3 bundles of cassava, some vegetables, and a few yams. It wasn't much, but it was honest work, and she was grateful for it. Amara was 24 years old, but life had aged her beyond her years. Her father had died when she was 15, leaving her mother sick and bedridden. For 9 years, Amara had worked other people's farms, washed clothes by the river, and did anything honest to keep food on their table and medicine for her mother. While other girls her age were getting married and starting families, Amara spent her nights caring for her mother and her days working until her hands bled. One day, her mother would tell her weekly from her mat, "God will reward you for your good heart, my daughter." Amara would smile and say nothing. She didn't work hard for rewards. She did it because it was right, because her mother needed her, because there was no one else. That evening, as she balanced the bundles on her head and began the long walk home, Amara's feet ached in her worn slippers. The path from the farm to the village was nearly 3 miles, and she had already walked it twice that day. But she kept moving, one foot in front of the other, thinking about the soup she would make for her mother. She was halfway home when she saw the old woman. The woman was sitting by the roadside, next to a large clay pot of water. She looked exhausted, her wrapper faded and patched in several places, her headscarf askew. The woman was probably in her 60s, with kind eyes that seemed tired and worried. "Please, my daughter," the old woman called out as Amara approached. "Can you help me? I fetched this water from the stream, but I'm too weak to carry it home. My house is just down this path, not far. Please, can you help an old woman?" Amara stopped. Her bundles were already heavy, and she was tired. The sun would set soon, and her mother would be waiting. It would be easy to say no, to explain that she had her own burdens to carry. But when she looked at the old woman's face, she saw genuine need. She saw someone's mother, someone's grandmother, sitting helpless by the road. "Of course, Mama," Amara said, lowering her bundles to the ground. "Let me help you." The old woman's face lit up with relief and gratitude. "Bless you, my child. Bless you." Amara lifted the heavy pot of water onto her head. It was even heavier than it looked, and combined with her own tiredness, it made her legs tremble. But she steadied herself and smiled at the old woman. "Lead the way, Mama. I will follow you." The old woman stood slowly, using a walking stick, and began to walk down a narrow path that branched off from the main road. Amara followed, the water pot balanced carefully on her head, her own bundles left by the roadside to collect on her way back. As they walked, the old woman kept looking back at her, as if surprised that Amara was still there. "You are very kind," the old woman said. "Most young girls these days, they see an old woman and they think, beggar. They hurry past like I am invisible." Amara shook her head, even though the movement made the water pot wobble dangerously. "You are somebody's mother, Mama. How can I pass by when you need help?" The old woman stopped and turned to look at Amara fully. In the fading light, her eyes seemed to shimmer with emotion. "What is your name, my daughter?" "Amara, Mama. My name is Amara." "Amara," the old woman repeated softly. "It means grace. Your mother named you well." They continued walking. The path seemed longer than the old woman had suggested, winding through bushes and across a small stream. Amara's neck ached from the weight of the water, and her feet stumbled on the uneven ground, but she didn't complain. "Are you married, Amara?" the old woman asked. "No, Mama. I take care of my sick mother. There is no time for marriage." "No time." The old woman's voice was gentle. "Or no suitors." Amara smiled sadly. "The boys in our village, they want wives who come with bride price, with family connections, with dowry." I have nothing to offer except my labor and my character. That is not enough for them. Foolish boys, the old woman muttered. They look at the wrapper and not the woman wearing it. Finally, they emerged from the path into a clearing. What Amara saw made her gasp. This was no poor woman's hut. Before them stood a beautiful compound with a large, well-maintained house, painted walls, and a veranda with comfortable chairs. There were even solar panels on the roof, something only wealthy families could afford. Amara's steps faltered. Mama, is this your house? The old woman smiled mysteriously. Where should I put the water? Was all she said. Still confused, Amara followed the woman's directions to a large water storage drum behind the house. She carefully lowered the pot, poured the water into the drum, and set the empty pot aside. Her arms were shaking from the effort. Wait here, the old woman said, and disappeared into the house. Amara stood in the gathering darkness, confused and a little worried. She needed to get back to collect her bundles and get home to her mother, but it would be rude to leave without saying goodbye. The old woman returned carrying a small bag. For your kindness, she said, pressing it into Amara's hands. No, Mama, I cannot accept payment, Amara protested. I helped you because it was right, not for money. I know, the old woman said, her eyes twinkling. That is exactly why you must take it. Please. For your mother's medicine. Reluctantly, Amara accepted the bag. Felt like it contained money, probably a few bills. She would use it for her mother's medicine, as the old woman suggested. Thank you, Mama. I must go now. My mother will worry. Wait, the old woman said. What is your family name? Where do you live? We live in Umwada village, Mama. My mother is Chioma, daughter of Okafor. People know us. The old woman nodded slowly, as if memorizing every word. Go well, Amara. I have a feeling we will meet again. Amara hurried back down the path, collected her bundles from where she'd left them, and rushed home as darkness fell. When she finally reached their small hut, her mother was awake, worry creasing her thin face. Amara, I was so worried. You are very late. I'm sorry, Mama. I stopped to help an old woman carry water. Amara set down her bundles and lit their small lamp. Her mother smiled. You have such a good heart, my daughter. Did you tell her about the bag? What bag? Amara suddenly remembered the small bag the old woman had given her. She had tucked it into her wrapper and forgotten about it. She pulled it out now and opened it. Her hands began to tremble. Inside was not a few bills, but a thick stack of money. More money than Amara had seen in her entire life. There must have been 50,000 naira, maybe more. Mama! Amara gasped. This is too much. I have to return it. The old woman must have made a mistake. But even as she said it, Amara knew she couldn't return it tonight. It was too dark, and she didn't even know the old woman's name or exactly where that path led. She would have to wait until morning. That night, Amara barely slept. She kept thinking about the mysterious old woman, the beautiful house, and the generous gift. Who was she? Why had she given Amara so much money? And why did she seem to be testing Amara with her questions? Early the next morning, Amara set out to find the old woman's house again. But when she reached the spot where the path branched off the main road, she couldn't find it. She searched for over an hour, walking up and down, but the path seemed to have disappeared. Other villagers passed by, and when she asked them about a big house in that direction, they looked at her strangely and said there was nothing there but thick bush. Confused and troubled, Amara finally gave up and went to the market to buy medicine for her mother. At least she could use the money for good, as the old woman had intended. 2 weeks passed. Amara's mother's health improved with the new medicine. There was food in the house, and Amara even managed to buy herself a new wrapper for church. Life felt a little easier, a little brighter. Then one Sunday after church service, Amara saw her. The old woman was standing near the church gate, but she wasn't dressed in patched wrappers anymore. She wore beautiful, expensive clothes, and several people were greeting her respectfully, calling her Ma and bowing slightly. Next to her stood a young man, tall and handsome, dressed in a fine shirt and trousers. Amara's heart began to pound. She tried to slip away quietly, but the old woman's eyes found her in the crowd. "Amara!" the old woman called out, her voice ringing clearly. "Amara, daughter of Chioma." Everyone turned to look. Amara had no choice but to approach, her heart hammering with nervousness. "Good morning, Mama," she said quietly, bowing respectfully. The old woman smiled, that same mysterious smile from 2 weeks ago. "My dear child, I've been looking for you. Come, there is someone you must meet." She turned to the young man beside her. "Chidi, this is the young woman I told you about. This is Amara." Chidi stepped forward, and Amara saw kindness in his eyes, the same kindness she had seen in his mother's. "It's nice to meet you, Amara. My mother has spoken of nothing else for 2 weeks. Amara was completely confused. "Mama, I don't understand." The old woman took Amara's hand. "Walk with us, child. There is much to explain." They walked to a quiet corner of the church compound, away from the curious eyes of other worshippers. The old woman's voice became serious. "Amara, my son Chidi is 30 years old, successful and unmarried. For 3 years I have been searching for a wife for him. Not just any wife, but a woman of true character, of kindness, of genuine goodness. I have tested many girls, from wealthy families and poor families alike." Amara's eyes widened as understanding began to dawn. The old woman continued, "I would dress simply, sometimes in my oldest clothes, and I would sit by the roadside or in the market, asking for help. Simple things. Help carrying water. Help with directions. Small things that cost nothing but kindness. Do you know how many girls helped me, Amara?" Amara shook her head, unable to speak. "In 3 years, only 4 girls stopped to help. 4 out of hundreds. And of those 4, you were different. The others helped, yes, but they did it quickly, impatiently, clearly wanting to be done with the old beggar woman. One girl threw money at me and told me to hire someone to help. Another helped but complained the entire time about her manicure. Only you, Amara, treated me with genuine respect and dignity. You carried that heavy water without complaint, though I could see you were exhausted. You refused payment. You called me Mama, with real warmth in your voice." Tears began to stream down Amara's face. I was only doing what was right." "Exactly," the old woman said, her own eyes glistening. "That is exactly the kind of daughter-in-law I want. A woman who does what is right, not for reward, not for recognition, but simply because it is right." Chidi spoke gently. "Amara, I know this is sudden and strange. My mother's methods are unconventional. But she is wise. She knows that a good wife cannot be found by looking at family wealth or beauty or education alone. She must be found by looking at the heart." He paused, his eyes sincere. "Would you allow me to court you? To know you properly? No pressure, no rush. Just a chance to see if we might suit each other." Amara looked from mother to son, her mind reeling. This couldn't be happening. Things like this didn't happen to girls like her. But my mother is sick," she stammered. "I have no dowry, no bride price to bring. I have nothing." The old woman squeezed her hand. "You have everything that matters, my child. You have character. You have kindness. You have dignity and strength. As for your mother, we will make sure she has the best medical care available. We will take care of her together as family." "I need to think," Amara whispered. "This is all so much. I need to talk to my mother." "Of course," Chidi said. "Take all the time you need. May I visit you tomorrow, to meet your mother properly?" Amara nodded, still dazed, and gave them directions to her home. That afternoon, when Amara told her mother everything, the older woman wept with joy. "I told you, my daughter. I told you God would reward your good heart. But you must be sure. Don't marry for escape from poverty. Marry only if you can respect and care for this man." The next day, Chidi came to their small hut. He didn't seem ashamed of its poverty or uncomfortable in its simplicity. He sat on their worn mat, spoke respectfully to Amara's mother, and treated them both with genuine warmth. Over the following weeks, he visited often. Sometimes he brought gifts, food, medicine, money, but more often he just came to talk, to know Amara and her mother, to share his own stories and dreams. Amara learned that Chidi owned several businesses, a transport company, a farm, and a retail shop. He was educated, having studied business in the city, but he had returned home to invest in his community. He was kind, thoughtful, and had a good sense of humor. More importantly, he treated Amara as an equal, asking her opinions, listening to her ideas, respecting her intelligence. But the path to marriage was not smooth. The village began to talk. How had a poor girl like Amara caught such a wealthy man? Some said she must have used juju, love medicine, to trap him. Others said the family must be desperate, that there must be something wrong with Chidi, that they couldn't find him a proper wife. The gossip was cruel and constant. One day, Amara overheard two women at the market. That Amara, she's a clever one. Probably planned the whole thing, pretended to help the old woman knowing she was rich. These poor girls, they know all the tricks. Now she'll live in luxury while we work hard. The words cut deep. Amara went home and cried. She hadn't schemed or planned anything. She had simply been herself, had simply helped someone in need. Was that so hard to believe? Chidi's mother heard about the gossip and came to visit Amara. She found the young woman in tears. "Let them talk," the older woman said firmly. "People who have never shown kindness cannot understand those who do. They judge you by their own hearts, not by yours. Hold your head high, Amara. You did nothing wrong." But the gossip took its toll. Some of Amara's friends stopped talking to her, jealous or believing the rumors. Even some of Chidi's relatives questioned the match, suggesting he could do better, marry someone from a good family. The real test came 3 months into the courtship. Chidi's uncle Obi, a wealthy and influential man in the family, invited Amara and her mother to his house for dinner. It was clearly meant to be an examination, a judgment of whether Amara was suitable. The dinner was uncomfortable from the start. Uncle Obi's wife made subtle comments about Amara's clothes, her lack of education, her family's poverty. The questions came fast and pointed. "Can you cook the meals our family is accustomed to? Do you know how to host important guests? What can your family contribute to the marriage?" Amara answered honestly and with dignity, but she could feel herself being found wanting in their eyes. Her mother, despite her illness, sat straight and proud, defending her daughter quietly but firmly. The final blow came when Uncle Obi spoke directly to Chidi. "Nephew, there are many suitable girls from good families who would make fine wives. This girl is beneath your station. Think of your children, your business reputation. Don't let your mother's sentimental ideas ruin your future." The room went silent. Amara felt her heart breaking. She started to stand, ready to leave with whatever dignity she had left, but Chidi's hand on her arm stopped her. Chidi stood instead, his voice calm but firm. "Uncle Obi, I respect you, but you are wrong. Amara is not beneath my station, she is above it. She has shown more character in her 24 years than many people show in a lifetime. She works hard, cares for her mother without complaint, treats everyone with kindness regardless of their status. These are the qualities I want in a wife, in the mother of my children. If you cannot see her worth, that is your blindness, not her deficiency." He turned to Amara, his eyes soft. "Amara, will you marry me? Not because of my money or my mother's wishes, but because I truly believe we can build a good life together, based on mutual respect and shared values." Amara looked at this man who had defended her when it mattered most, who saw her value when others saw only her poverty. She thought about the old woman by the roadside, how a simple act of kindness had led to this moment. She thought about her mother's words, "God will reward you for your good heart." "Yes," she whispered, then stronger. "Yes, I will marry you." Chidi's mother smiled through her tears. Even Uncle Obi, though he frowned, said nothing more. The wedding took place 3 months later. It was the talk of the village, the poor orphan girl marrying the wealthy heir. But on that day, Amara didn't care about the gossip. She saw only the people who mattered. Her mother, finally healthy thanks to proper medical care, sitting in the place of honor. Chitty's mother, who had become like a second mother to her. And Chitty himself, looking at her with love and respect. In her wedding speech, Amara spoke from the heart. People ask how a girl like me could be so blessed. The truth is simple. I was raised to treat every person with dignity, rich or poor, young or old. I was taught that how we treat others when we expect nothing in return shows who we really are. I didn't help an old woman by the roadside expecting a reward. I helped her because she needed help because it was right. If there is any lesson in my story, it is this. Character matters. Kindness matters. How you treat people when no one is watching, when there is nothing to gain. That is who you really are. The guests clapped, and even some who had gossiped felt ashamed. But Amara's favorite moment came later, during the reception. The old woman, her mother-in-law now, took her aside. I want to tell you something, she said. You were not the last girl I tested. After you helped me that day, I tested 3 more girls, hoping to find others like you for my younger sons. Do you know what happened? Amara shook her head. All 3 saw me in my old wrapper, sitting by the roadside, and they crossed to the other side. They didn't even look at me. They saw a poor old woman and decided I wasn't worth their time. She smiled sadly. This is why I knew you were special, Amara. In a world where most people only help those who can help them back, you help someone you thought had nothing to offer. That is true kindness. Years passed. Amara and Chitty built a strong marriage based on mutual respect and shared values. They had 3 children, whom they raised with the same values Amara's mother had taught her. Amara never forgot where she came from. She started a charity that helped poor girls get education and skills training. She would often go to the market or roadside dressed simply, helping old people carry loads or directing strangers, teaching her children by example. The village gossips eventually